Yeah. I had to hook it up to finding ways to, to just
Uh,
highlight your name and put the title there.
cool. I like that
So
that picture of me in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater. I miss that
yeah.
place.
Well, I couldn't find another picture of you, really, actually.
Well, I never was one for getting my picture taken. That was a real problem considering what I'm into. But occasionally a picture will come out, and I just wish I had taken more pictures of some of the people that I've worked with,
yeah.
so just to
Well,
prove to people.
let me just introduce you. Hey, this is KLA, Clive the Wanderer, for those who know me, and I'm here with legendary filmmaker Samuel Oldham, and he's here to talk about his adventures of making this documentary on the strong women. For those who
Mm.
don't know, strong women been around from the turn of the century or maybe even longer than that. So
Mm.
yeah, man, thank you, Mr. Oldman. How are you? We haven't got in touch lately. So yeah, man,
Well,
what you been up to?
yeah, I'm kind of a hermit. Ever since I left LA, I have been sitting around, basically reviving a lot of my old work, restoring some videos, and now I'm into AI. This AI is, I mean, again, people may have some problems with it, but for frustrated filmmakers like me, to be able to create and continue to do stuff, it keeps me young. So I'm creating a new channel, and that documentary of Superwomen, that was pretty much the start of it because I'd been planning that thing for a long time and never got around to it. And then the one thing I could really add to make it more unique, apart from my perspective and a few other people that I actually worked with, was to add a little AI animation to the mix. Make it seem a little more real. And that to me was a lot of fun. And also just to have the excuse to be able to explore. I mean, the very first documentary I did was on Jay Baxter, and then I worked on many of them that had me fly around the world at least twice. But this particular one was a very personal one for me because I've been an advocate for women like this my entire life, and I just don't like it when they get swept under the rug.
What would you want people to learn from this documentary?
Basically, they're not to be denied or ignored. I mean, there have been so many excuses to explain away women like this. So, oh, they're freaks. Oh, they're this. That. No, no. I remember once when I was a child, um, our family, we were a very hardworking family, and the women were pretty buff. And I was used to that because if you have a human body and you work and exercise it, it will grow. And to have women deny that for so long was just, it was hilarious to me. I didn't get it. It didn't make any sense. So I'm just glad I got involved with the people that I did. And then I had a chance to make this little piece. That was fun. That was a lot of fun to be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been like I would say like 8 years since I knew about these muscle women really like in the turn of the century. Some of them were like circus freaks, well, not circus freaks but circus performers, and
Mm-hmm.
people would consider them as freaks, but
But they worked. And
yeah,
if you work, you're going to build your body up. And that's what I
yeah,
thought was funny. And the one that really got me going again was the one in the Edison short, because I remember that from a long time ago. And people would talk about, oh, yeah, she had arms. I said, well, I don't see them. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I found out that she was one of the first people that sold uh, cards with her picture on it and buttons and all this stuff. I'm going, wow, she really was able to at least capitalize on her abilities, her strength abilities. I know other people made most of the money, but still, people were taking it seriously. And again, when I read that review of her in the paper, it was the point I've
Yeah,
been make for years. It's like, okay, these people are not freaks. They're not freaks. This is what you look like when you work out, and that's the whole point of it. It's like you can't deny women this sort of thing. I mean, this is to me, it was the ultimate freedom. You know, telling a woman she can't do this because she's a woman. No, sorry.
yeah. Uh, I, because when you say you're a feminist, like
I people like to say feminist. I say humanist. I mean, because this is,
feminist,
yeah, this is exactly how people are. I mean, people are people. I mean, I believe in, feminist ideals, but that's only because, I grew up with a lot of women. I grew up around a lot of women, and they're no different than any other human being. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just tired of the differential that people make. That status social rankings that people want to do because they want to categorize everything and not take it for what it is.
you know, some people they look at it as gender roles, like because you see you do see like these strong women, but then you see like a position where the men have to step up, and even with women, they expect the men to be men and protect them and all that type of
Right,
stuff, and
right.
so it's kind of it's a hard thing to kind of differentiate what's feminine and what's masculine,
Well,
especially now in these days.
yeah, well, that's because for the longest amount of time you had people that wanted control categorize people. And I'm going, no, that's not right. I mean, for one thing, I found it interesting that the term black person and white person, there's no such thing as a black person and a white person. You don't see any other ethnic race being called their color. So this is something that's been categorized. And so they did the same thing with women. Okay, women are this. They're supposed to be beneath men. They're frail. They need to be taken care of. All this stuff. And I mean, if they can do the job better than you, you better let them do it. Otherwise, that's just like, again, control. People don't want to give people their control. They don't want to give up control to others, so they categorize them and say you can only do this. That's it. And I've been against that from day one. I mean, personally, I was expected to become a certain way, and yet I make film and draw comics. So,
Yeah,
again, I never even, that's the other thing, categorization that I don't like because I was never accepted in the positions that I wanted to be in. And so when I got involved with female bodybuilding, we were all on an even keel. We had trust, and we also accepted each other for the way we were. And it wasn't about control or categorizations. So that's why to quote a Latino, famous Latino ball player, or paraphrase, female bodybuilding's been very, very good to me, and I'm grateful to have been involved.
yeah. Do you? I don't know if I asked you before, but like, is there somebody that you pay attention to now in female bodybuilding?
Yeah, I think you did last time. There are a few. I've been
Hmm.
paying attention to a few, but of late, I haven't been keeping up. I've got to come back into the game because I really wanted to get this project off the ground before I really started exploring. I had a very dear friend of mine call me on my birthday. One of my business partners in the female bodybuilding field, video, uh, uh, hooked him up, and we talked on the phone. And it just made me realize, oh gosh, now I forgot what my train of thought was. What were we talking about before? But
Oh, I was asking you about is there like a female bodybuilder that
oh, Oh,
That
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that you like
yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because when we were talking, we were celebrating my birthday, and he was bringing up some names, and I realized, I haven't been paying attention lately. So I really got focused on this project. I want to get this new website up, these new videos out there, and then I'm going to get back into the game. I mean, it's spring is ending, summer's coming, the season is about to break, and I want to get back in and you know, reassociate with some of my old friends, see what everybody else is doing, and who knows, maybe develop a few new projects along the way.
Yeah. Like back to the your project, like how long did you it took you to make this, and like did you do a lot of research on these women?
Oh, I did a ton of research. It
Mm.
was funny because, like I said before, I'd done documentaries for another company in the past, and it was fun to be able to apply the research that we did to this because this was much more fun. The others were
Mm.
work, and this was something I was interested in, and learning all of this stuff about these people just blew my mind. I mean, I was always impressed, always with people that come up from really bad situations. You know, people like gosh, Joan. I'm not thinking of her last name. Who was grew up in a London poorhouse and became a strength performer. You know, stories like that just intrigue me. And of course, I was always a big fan of Mildred Burke. I remember her when I was a kid, and I'd see her on TV. It was almost like my introduction to female bodybuilding. You see this, and you're going, "What?" You don't believe what you're seeing because you've never been exposed to it before. And I'm seeing her; she's just tearing it up. And I thought, "Oh, I kind of remember this lady." Sure enough, they did that feature film based on that book, and I saw it. It was pretty good. You know, they got it right, which made me realize that maybe someone should I shouldn't even be saying this, but I've been an advocate of Kay Baxter's, obviously, and I really would like to compose a the story of her life because she just doesn't get the representation that she deserves, considering what
Yeah.
she's done and all that. And so that was another reason that I really got into doing this documentary, so I could give her a shout out again, and also just be able to fully lay out how this has been progressing and how we're starting to accept it a little bit more. Um, but still not enough. There's still a lot of people threatened by it. So we'll just be patient. Eventually, which is one of my goals, I want to see it being treated like
Mm.
a norm, like anything
Yeah.
else, not just something. What is that? People freaking out when they see a female bodybuilder walk down the street. It's like I just
Yeah.
want, wow, there's a female bodybuilder walking down the street. That's where I want to see us get to. Throat's dry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also seen the movie with Mildred Burke. You know, I don't know. Like the thing was, you know,
Mm,
like the guy that kind of put her on
mhm,
to introduce her to wrestling. It seemed like they made him into a monster. I don't know if he was like that for real or that was an exaggeration. It's almost like Joe Jackson a bit, you know,
mm.
like yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. You don't really know, like
Well,
was he really doing her like that?
I kind of know something about him because he's going to be the subject of my next documentary. I'm doing another one on
Mm,
fighting women along the same line as that other one. And one thing about him, yeah, he was kind of like that. But I know a lot of people like that. They get into this
mm,
managerial position and they become players. But he was also one of the people that got black female wrestlers working. They
yeah,
He backed them up, got them going, and next thing you know, we're seeing more of that. And I thought, I'll give it to him for that. Also giving us Mildred, but he was like a lot of people that manage talent. They get a little salacious. Look nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like who? Like what? Did I ask you that? Like who stood out for you in this like in making this? What was it? Mildred Burke that stood out for you more?
Uh,
That
well, I gotta admit, she was the one that really got me going in making this piece because
yeah.
I remember, like I said, I saw her when I was a kid, and then somewhere on YouTube I found some footage of her, and I thought, wow, I forgot how aggressive she could be. I mean, she was intense. And then she also had that school in Reseda. Uh, I wanted to visit it, but I never got a chance to, where she was teaching wrestling. And I thought, that's really cool that she was passing it on and then doing it. And I think there was a film made that it was one of those little exploitation films, but they featured her school in it, and she got a brief role, and it was kind of funny. But I downloaded it. I haven't seen it yet because I came from the world of low budget films, so I kind of know what to expect. And I'm waiting till I am in the right mood to watch it. But just to see her on screen in a legitimate film, again, push the image, keep it out there. And I'm so glad they made that movie. Hopefully, we'll see more movies like it.
Yeah.
Queen of the Ring, yeah.
Yeah. Queen of the
Based
Yeah.
on the same name.
Yeah, yeah, I don't have like clips of to show, but I have clips on other stuff. I should have got it, but I was a little distracted trying to put things I want to put it in. But I could show some of the stuff that you did so far.
Luisita Lears has got to be the only 4'9", 95-pound human being who ever successfully outangled a male strongman. She also was born in a family of circus artists. Her mother, Gertrude, was an acrobat, and her adopted father, Guido, was a ring specialist. Lears lived an austere life and began training at an early age, performing and living under lock and key with her mother, who even went so far as to prepare all of her daughter's meals to ensure that she would grow strong. It seems impossible that anyone her size was as muscular as she was. And she wasn't a bodybuilder or a strong woman. She built her biceps with rope climbing, and they were bigger than anyone else's because she did more of it than anyone else. Lears and her insane arms dominated the center stage in spite of the fact that she performed alongside the legend of one-arm pull-ups, Lillian Leitzel. Luisita made her debut in her father's troupe in March of 1920 at the age of 11. By the age of 17, she was spotted by John Ringling, and in 1928, she joined the Ringling Brothers in Barnum and Bailey Circus. She would highlight the benefits of physical exercise by performing in a white sleeveless leotard like the men to show off her strength and muscular upper body. She would perform without a net, which included turns around the trapeze held at elbow level or a suspension by the back of the neck. Critics compared her to Miss Athleta or Sanduina. After traveling the U.S. performing on the vaudeville circuit, Lears returned home to her native Germany just in time to be trapped there by the Nazis in World War II. Trapped in a war zone in a house that took a direct hit from bombs, Lears couldn't train, and all of her costumes for performing were destroyed. Out of shape and out of work after the war, Lears abandoned training and became a translator and then a sculptor before passing away.
That's
Yeah.
neat. I never saw it before with subtitles. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like with the AI, like how did you do that? That was really cool. Like
Well,
yeah.
again, this is so funny. I was pretty much out of the game. I wasn't gonna be making films, and then one of my best friends up in Canada started me researching into AI, and it was like a magic trick. It was it was like I went back to my early days of filmmaking, because when I got involved, it was like playing with clay. You had all these raw materials and you just messing them around, and then you make and it'll come out in a movie. This was even more like that. I mean, when I start showing my other work, I was amazed at how it was not that much different than filmmaking. I mean, instead of directing actors, you're giving a computer prompts and giving it instruction. First take's bad, change the prompt. It'll do it different. And then if you're a reasonable editor, you can just take all of those pieces and put it together, which is what I've been doing. I'm not one to rely on an AI editor or whatever. I'm old school, so I just collect the clips and then I cut them together the old-fashioned way. You have more control that way, and I like the way they come out. So yeah, AI is a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know how much longer it's going to last because it is kind of not really helpful for our environment, and so many people are using it for trivial things, and it's also replacing any real creativity in work. So that has to be balanced out. But like I told people, that there was that Iron Maiden Cave Actor thing. That was the very first thing I ever did. That's on my YouTube channel. It's garbage compared to what I'm doing now. But as I said on that, it's only a tool. AI is a tool. Don't depend on this stuff. I mean, you depend on it, you lose your own abilities. And so I'm about using it very sparingly, but using it in a controlled fashion, not letting it take over anything.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, yeah, I remember I was in I was listening to a discussion about AI. Is AI affecting social media and
Mm-hmm.
stuff? And some people there was one person, he heavily depends on it. And there was these other people, they felt that, that it, and at a certain point it kind of goes against nature, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah,
what'll
I
happen if
don't.
it all gets shut off? I mean, someone
Yeah,
flips
that's
on the
true.
switch, it all goes away. What are people going to do? People will freak
Yeah,
out. So
yeah,
I'm
that's true.
grateful to keep it as a tool, and not depend on it. Although I did recently subscribe to ChatGTP. It's like having a secretary, but I try not to use it very much because again, you get really lazy.
Hmm. Yeah, I never used chat
Mm.
or I don't know which AI. If I don't know the stuff that I did. It was probably AI with the titles and stuff like that. Probably is, but I don't. It ain't much AI I use like that really. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
it's weird. Like I said, I probably wouldn't if it weren't for AI. I'd probably be gone. I mean, I was done, and then I started by upgrading my old videos. I mean, it takes AI to clean that stuff up, and also one thing I'm looking forward to eventually revealing the video I did with Kay. The first video we did was made of metal. It was a legitimate kind of a little mini movie. I was trying to introduce the character for a feature we were going to do later, but AI can now expand it to widescreen, create all the extra things. I can add more special effects. I can clean up the image so that it looks brand new. So I'm looking forward to releasing this maybe sometime during the summer, late summer, early fall. But that's when I'm going to start releasing everything. I'm even thinking about starting a new website because one thing I haven't gotten quite over yet is that a lot of my work is making a lot of people money, but not me. And I found it interesting. I would go on YouTube and I see a lot of my clips on other people's websites making them money. And I approached it, I approached it the way George Lucas did when people would imitate Star Wars with their little fan films. It's like, okay, I can't afford all the advertisement, but at least they're keeping my name out there. They're keeping the work out there. So all I have to do is just sit back and acknowledge it, and then keep going. And I think that's what this year was for. Getting involved with AI, I swear, it added years to my life. So I'm really, really looking forward to doing more stuff in this field.
yeah, I've seen like the likes that you have like with the super women. I mean, you have like probably 100 likes. That's pretty good.
I was surprised at how many views it got the first couple of days. I mean,
Yeah.
my average views are, they're modest. Again, I don't have a huge audience and that kind of thing. But that particular documentary just took off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, the audience is there. They're waiting for this. I need to get really serious. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
think.
I was gonna say
No,
I
I
can't
was.
tell out. Go
No,
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, I was just saying that I just can't wait to get the channel out. Like I said, this particular week. I'm finalizing everything. I'm got a bunch of shorts that are already done, and I got to set up a schedule for others. I got one in particular that I think is really going to make people completely crazy, and I'm looking forward to it. You know the film Plan 9 from Outer Space? It's supposed
No.
it's supposed to be the worst film ever made. Ed Wood was the director, and it's a sci-fi film. It was Bela Lugosi's last film. Real low budget, real weird, real strange, but it's got a major cult following because of the guy. So I made a sequel to it. Only if that particular director had $100 million budget, and I have something that I've always wanted to do. I was a big fan of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. So I've got a sequence in this where I've got two 150-foot female bodybuilders having a battle on Santa Monica Pier. And with AI making things look very real, it is just the craziest thing. I laughed my butt off creating this thing. I couldn't believe how AI would approach it. And again, I'm just want to mainstream the image of the female bodybuilder. I don't want the people to treat them like freaks anymore. So I'm putting them in everything that I do. Then I'm really looking forward to unveiling all of this stuff onto the public.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I want to check that out. Yeah, I'm willing to check that out. Like, do you like do you know like what's going on with like with with women's bodybuilding? They cutting shows and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I've been hearing that, and you know, it's really depressing. But that's been happening since it started to gain its popularity. I mean, it peaked in the '80s, but again, people didn't have the control they wanted over it, and it started to be neglected, and then and the usual problems happen, you know, with steroid use and whatever, and I don't know. It just seems to reek of desperation now. And it's really sad because there's a lot of brilliant female athletes out there. I'm still, you know, every once in a while, I still will take a quick peek at see who's up and coming. It's just amazing to me, and I'm just so happy to see it at least chugging along. But someone's got to come along and really, really clean things up and take it more serious, like it was back in the day.
Yeah. Have you ever met Bill Dobbins? Out of curiosity.
Bill Dobbins? Oh yeah, many
Oh,
times. Oh yeah, we
okay.
met. You know, I was. It's funny how I was going through some of my old videos and I was looking at some of the people that I'd met. And you know, I'm the type of guy that's the fly on the wall. I mean, I met all of these people. I just didn't want to stand out but you know, I remember Wally Boyko and his shows. All the people I used to work with, some of the rivals. I mean, I used to go to Bill Dobbins studios. We were for some of his shoots, and I was always jealous because he got all the ladies that I wanted. You know, I got one or two of them, but he got everybody. I mean, I still have. I remember when Linda Murray came on the scene, and I couldn't wait to work with that lady. We did a couple of things, but it never developed the way I wanted it to, because again, the sport there was something not really kosher, but you see that in a lot of spectator sports. people behind the scenes manipulating things, and I was still soured when I went with Kay to the last Olympia she competed in '85, and seeing what was going on backstage, and I'm going, how do these people put up with this stuff? You know, and so I just don't know what to think anymore as far as it goes. But there's some great people still competing out there, and gosh, I even there was this one lady that I knew way back in the day. She's about 70 now, and she still competes. She still looks great. She was always a surfer girl, so she was always in good shape. She was in the movie Napoleon Dynamite. She was in that movie.
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
the
been a
name.
while since I watched that movie.
Yeah, the name is in my head. I just can't. It won't float to the surface. I always used to say, because you get older, it's not that you're addle in the brain, it's that you live so much life. It's full of tons of stuff. We need to defrag our brains and get rid of the useless information so we can make room for all these new memories. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway,
I mentioned. Yeah, I mentioned on Bill Dobbins because I know he was the advocate of female bodybuilding. I know he used to write articles about how
he
he
had
felt
books too.
on.
He had a lot of
Yeah,
books with photos. He was great.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about like bikini or fit model in your
Um,
opinion?
Fine. Again,
Huh.
everything is its own category. I mean, I remember there was a phrase. I think Orson Welles said it, where they asked his opinion about a particular thing, and he says, "I don't mind it as long as it doesn't pretend to be anything else. You
Yeah,
know, as long as it is what it is, and doesn't try to be some kind of pretentious thing. I mean, uh, I still remember when the beauty pageant part of male bodybuilding shows turned into aerobics shows. They had
yeah,
that whole thing in the '80s. It was like aerobics. It was just fit models dancing. Yeah,
mm,
whatever. Whatever excuse. They thought it was a more commercial form of female athletic display. But whatever. Things
yeah,
change. But as long as they keep evolving, I'm for it. I'm for anything.
yeah,
And I only have one. I only had one. I only had one statement for this sort of thing. If you've got it, flaunt it. If you don't, stay home. You know, that's my only rationalization for because I always considered bodybuilding as performance art. It's not. It's more performance art than athletics, and it involves being able to display the physique in its best possible way, and that I appreciated when I saw it because I draw. I know what it takes to have to create something out of whatever raw materials you have, and that's why I really appreciate bodybuilders, male and female, for what they do,
yeah,
present. So I just I'm just scared at the abuse some of them have to go through in order to compete. But anyway, that's the same with everything, I guess. Competition
yeah.
breeds all kinds of different techniques.
Yeah, some people look at it as a unpaid sport.
Mm.
That a lot of people they make terrible sacrifices. There was this bodybuilder. She passed. She took a life. She was doing the Master Olympia, and when she was done with the show, it was to a point where she didn't have any money and she was homeless, and so she wrote like a letter saying that she can't deal with it anymore. So yeah,
Yeah,
she had
that's
a
it.
nice physique too. This
Mm.
Japanese lady. The name's not coming to me right now, but yeah, Sachi Butler, something like that. I think that's the name.
Mm.
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
it's just terrible because one of the things that I remember when I was working with a lot of the people. Uh, so much of the money went in the wrong places, just like anything else in business, politics, and whatnot. I mean, the wrong people got most of the money, where the participants were cheated. And the only way a lot of bodybuilders could make money is if they conformed and they did ads for the people. That used to drive me crazy. Which is when Kay and I got involved with our video business. Uh, it was so much fun because, first of all, they didn't treat her with any respect, and she wasn't going to endorse any of their products. So we did our product and sold it the way they sold their products, which made our videos different because you didn't sell this sort of thing and regular magazines with full page ads. Well, we did it. Also, we didn't do the traditional sort of video. I mean, most of them, I think I explained this the last time we talked. You sort of camera on a tripod, put a mat on the floor, and people just bang into each other. I'm like, huh? So we came up with scenarios that gave us excuses to throw in several little battles in one video. And so that seemed to work out pretty well. Boy.
Seen some of your videos actually, where some woman, I think it was Kay Baxter or somebody else, they was tossing you around or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of it's real, some of it's not. But I enjoy the making it really, really crazy. When we were doing the videos, I came up with the idea we're going to put sound effects in these things. The people hear all these horrible bone-breaking noises. It's like it freaked people out, but it was so much fun. We would laugh our butts off watching this stuff. And next thing you know, again, the one thing that I really appreciate is seeing your work imitated. And companies would develop these whole videos making fantasy sci-fi female bodybuilding heroine stories, and I used to love watching that stuff. It's like, this is cool because I grew up watching fake women fight, and I still remember shows like Honey West with Anne Francis, and even Man from Uncle had crazy Amazon women on it, but there was like this fake karate stuff. I'm like, oh, come on, I want to see the real deal. And then Kay and Bill Wick came along, and that changed everything. It's like all of a sudden people were really competing. And then there was the muscle worship thing that really started to grow. And I also remember one of the other things that inspired me was Heavy Metal Magazine. When it was, the adult sci-fi comic magazine, you'd see all these crazy Amazon women looking all kinds of buff and crazy. So, that's because people aren't used to that. And you show it, they freak out, but they get over it. And I always used to say that I loved the way Arnold's career went because the movie that made him a superstar was playing a role that was so far above a human being. I mean, Terminator. I mean, you can't imagine something like that walking down the street. But he performed it. He was accepted. Next thing you know, he became the top action star of his period because they were able to accept him in that early role. Otherwise, most bodybuilders that appear in a lot of movies, they're, whoa, we need a Hercules type. We need a freak. We need this, that, and the other things. It's the same old thing. It's like, the whole thing about Hollywood cliches. There's all kinds of cliches. People feel comfortable with cliches, and I'm sick of it. I want to see it. I want to see all these cliches go away.
Yeah. I noticed like with the muscle women, they it kind of died out now. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially like in Star Trek. I mentioned this. Like I see all these militant women. but you don't really see like them like muscular women on Star
No,
Trek. There's
no.
like
Spice Williams was the only one.
yeah, she was the only one, and they
Yeah,
didn't really like favored her too much. I heard Gene Roddenberry liked her, and so he would kind of invite her. I think she was in Star Trek for the fifth Star Trek movie, and she was in Deep Space
yeah,
Nine in one of the episodes. But
yeah, yeah.
outside of her, like she was there wasn't you didn't really see too many. You didn't really see none. Like this character, her name is Major Kira, and
Oh
sh-
yeah.
and she fights all these guys like they Cardassian warriors, and they're bigger than
Mhm.
her, and she's just knocking them out, and it's like she's just petite. I'm like, how is that possible? She's not
And,
even doing like no kung fu serious like
right, and
martial arts or anything like that. She
it
just
only
hitting them like with her arms like this, swinging them. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
it makes it worse because people don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I used to one of the things I almost hate to bring this up, but Kay was trained in the military, and Bill Wick was a Marine when they were married and started doing these fight things. Kay found it very easy to mess somebody up, and
Mm.
of course, when you saw her do it, you believed it because she really did it. And I'm so tired of this pretend. Uh, I saw what was it? It was one of the Captain America movies.
I know
Uh,
what you're talking about. I know
yeah,
you
with
the
the red
last
heart.
one was
Yeah,
Sam Wilson. He was
yeah, yeah,
the yeah, I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
And they
Somebody
had
was telling
they had the Black Widow agent. She was like this big, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, this is not a going too far. I mean, you can
yeah.
be as skilled as you want, but even the most skilled martial artist that size would not be able to take out some of the people she took out in that film. That's in fact that was one of the comments that I got on the documentary. Someone was
Mm.
complaining that women could never be stronger than men, and I said women and men are built physically different, but there are exceptions to every rule. That's the point that I was trying to make. But he was immediately threatened. Women, no, 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 women can't be that. Some of the women I've seen, oh Lord, could toss a bus through a window. I'm talking some pretty immense and intense women. And I'm not talking about some of the roided ones. I mean, serious female athletes. And so again, anything is possible. So I don't believe in cliches. I don't believe in categories and whatnot. That's why I really enjoy what I do. And I was able to develop a lot of trust with a lot of these ladies because I took them very seriously, and that was the main thing. And I just want to see it continue. I mean, I'm almost 70 years old, and I'm still not done. I really want to show more and get more enthusiasm for this subject really stirred. And I'm really grateful for AI now. Like I said before, it may not last, but for the time it's here, I'm going to get as much animated subject matter out there that I can along this line.
Yeah. But we got a guest, always George Page. Good evening, folks. Yeah,
Mm.
George was the guy that was here the last time,
Ah,
you
okay.
know. Yeah. He's an advocate of female bodybuilders. He loves the women bodybuilder division. That's his
Mm-hmm.
favorite category. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
We go. There
yeah.
we go. We need more devotees. I'll never forget. I remember when I first got involved. I had never, like I said, I'd never seen this sort of thing before. I remember Lisa Lyon appearing on stage in Santa Monica, and I freaked out. And I heard about a show that was happening in Anaheim, and I walked in. And I see all these girls posing, and I think I met Steve Wennerstrom for the first time there. And I was sitting up front, and I was just amazed. I'm like, what is going on here? And he looked at me and he said, "You really want to get involved? Get yourself a camera." And that's what I did, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, yeah,
Got a
yeah.
camera.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I had like a thought.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
done.
Let me read because he got some chats. He said it's true. Women like to feel that they trust you with their personal info.
Mm-hmm.
Then he also says, I actually got to meet David Lee Roth, and he talked about how Kay Baxter was his personal trainer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we used to party. Oh my gosh, he took us all to Barty's Beanery one time. It was just so cool. David was great. And
mm,
when I finished Made of Metal, it had a premiere at a Hollywood club called the Maskers Club, and it was a benefit to help save the club. And David Lee Roth shows up and really turns the place into a party. It was just so great. He's something else.
yeah, yeah. A little bit before. Well, I probably had to be like in what, like grade school, when you
Mm,
guys was partying like that.
mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
because I know about Van Halen, but I ain't know his name, David Roth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He was a force to be reckoned with because Van Halen was their own band. He became the lead singer. He pretty much catapulted them to fame, and then they kind of dismissed him. Then he went and got Stevie Vai and formed another group. I went to their
Mm.
first concert. He invited me and Kay to the first outdoor concert he had with his new band, which was very cool. My favorite David Lee Roth moment, though, was we were driving. I was driving with him to Kay's place, and he had a demo of his solo album on a cassette. He played it for me on his car radio, and I thought that was so cool. Next thing you know, one hit after another. California Girls, Just a Gigolo, whatever, and I heard the original demo.
Yeah, I remember those songs. I just didn't know who sang it really until yeah. Yeah, because you would hear the songs, but
Mhm.
it ain't really like you know I didn't know who was like the people that made the song.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I missed because I grew up when not grew up, but I was in LA when MTV was just getting started, and that's how I kept track of everybody because I loved MTV. I mean, it was visual radio. They they
Mm.
they they came up with a song, you saw the performer do it, and they would be creative and create these little images. MTV was just a godsend for me. And I got to see so many things, and I got to keep up. But nowadays, I don't know who is who anymore. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I
just not.
think you don't listen to rap too much, hip hop no more.
Oh, I was there at the beginning. I love hip hop. I love rap. I remember my favorite moment because I was into classical music and movie soundtracks, and my roommate was already into rap and had just gotten started. And then I read an article in a group called NWA, and I ran to him and said, "I want to hear their stuff." And he looked at me and said, "I've been trying to get you to listen to their stuff forever." And he pulled out all their stuff. I was addicted. I love that. I love rap, all rap. But I even tried to do one. I was a big fan of Monster Mash, and I wanted to do a horror rap song. I'm still thinking about doing it because again, most of my family is musical. They create little things with their synthesizers and whatnot, and I sit here and I listen. And I thought, you know what, I had to try that. I mean, got a music sample, created a little horror rap song. Who knows? Maybe this Halloween, thanks to AI, I'll make a music
Vincent
video.
Price. It'd be
Mm.
like Vincent Price.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Vinny, I met him too. What a nice guy.
Yeah,
That's one of the
that's
things that
cool.
yeah, it's like I realized that I spent over half of my life in Hollywood. And I was like, oh my gosh, again, like I said earlier, I wish I'd taken more pictures. There are a few here and there, but I was just too shy to be around these people, let alone have my picture taken with them. But I'll always I'll always relish the fact that I was the very first person to interview Harrison Ford in public, right after he had
Yeah, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot you. Yeah, you yeah on the interview. Yeah, you were talking
the
about that. Yeah.
film school. That film school was so unique. I'm so proud that I was a part of that. I dreamed about becoming a part of Hollywood. Instead, I was right on the periphery. The teachers there were celebrities, for crying out loud. I mean, Lucille Ball walking in, it was just a fabulous place. And yeah, again, if it weren't for that place, I probably never gotten involved with female bodybuilding either. It's
Mm.
amazing how these things were intertwined. But it was
Yeah.
because of that place, I went to my first bodybuilding show. My boss was friends with my future partner, Amazon Productions. All those
Mm.
videos we made, it was nuts. So that's why I had to make that documentary. I was destined. I was
When
destined. To know it.
like you was talking about you would want to would the like would you want to make a movie like with Kay Baxter the way Mildred Burke,
Mm-hmm.
they did a Mildred Burke movie.
Yeah, I've been toying with that in my head for a long time because her life was pretty unique, and
Yeah.
yeah, and although her passing always bothered me because things got weird during those last days, especially after someone broke into her house, and
Mm.
yeah, it was weird, very weird, but she had a personality unlike anybody I ever met. And
Mm.
despite all the bad things that happened, she was always a very cheerful person. I mean, she was born late in her family. By the time she was born, her two sisters were already young adults, so she was pretty much alone on the farm with her parents. Developed a different attitude about things, and so yeah, I have to write that book. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, even if I have
Mm.
to. Even if I have to disguise it because I really don't know everything about her life. I could create a fictionalized version of my life. Basically, it involved a fictionalized version of her. I was thinking about that
Mm.
for the fun of it. It's like, yeah, if I fictionalized it, people would believe it. If I told the truth, nobody would believe it.
You
But
ever thought about like doing the animation about it a little bit, like make like a story? I don't know. I just kind of.
well, here's interesting you should say that because one of the things that really got me really interested with AI, it's like Kay has taken thousands of pictures. She's
Yeah.
she's photographed more than most female bodybuilders ever, and I have maybe a quarter of them. But you can animate them in AI. And the thing that I found really, really
Mm.
amazing is one of the things that I'm going to be doing because I'm going to re-release a new version of the documentary I did on her with improved footage. But all the photos that were taken of me filming her, you load them all into AI, and I created a video of me actually making the documentary, all based on actual photos. I found that really fascinating. I said, "Oh my gosh, I can actually bring all that to life now." So yeah, I have little photo shoots that were taken that she did. You combine all of those photos into AI, and she actually walks through the photo shoot. It was just magical. So I'm gonna be also like I said, the very first AI animation I did was that made of metal Iron Maiden thing that looks so terrible now. I'm
Yeah.
recreating. Yeah, I'm recreating the actual script that I wrote, and with much better models and better special effects. It's coming along pretty well. Like I said, I'm trying to do all this stuff as quickly as I can before the novelty wears off. At least I'll have it done, and it'll be there for the world to see.
Yeah. Yeah, let me play some of your clips of the documentary you did on her.
Introduce yourself. Well, pretty much the same as Sue Ann. I started off with training back in 1979 because I've always been an athlete and I wanted to continue that. And as a woman in my 30s, I found that even though I was teaching aerobics and doing as much as I thought I could at the time to stay fit, I wasn't staying as fit as I wanted to. I was noticing that I was getting flabby places that I didn't want to be flabby, and so I took up weightlifting in 1979 when it was really not fashionable for girls to lift weights. Now it's becoming more so. So I came through the whole era of time where is it okay to be, do you lose your femininity when you lift weights, all this stuff. And I have kept it up all these years, mainly because I've always liked the muscular look. And to me, it was never a question of, what do I want to look like? I always knew I wanted to be muscular.
That was one of my earliest YouTube videos too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it important for people to know about K Baxter? Because there's some bodybuilders, women bodybuilders, like if you mention her name, they don't know who that is. For
Right,
you,
right.
like,
Well, she was blacklisted because she wouldn't conform, and because she
mm,
became an independent, there was a lot of jealousy there. So you know, you can't win for losing sometimes, especially if you're a groundbreaker. And again, women didn't build themselves didn't build themselves up as large as she did. She was one of the first and was able to make it look good. One of the things that always used to blow my mind about her, because when I first started making the documentaries, when I first started shooting her, I could just see it happening. But she was a gymnast, and she really didn't have a V shape. She created that V shape by developing tremendous lats and delts, and it was like I to watch it develop like that was just amazing to me. And she was just so dedicated, and I felt bad with what happened at the '85 Olympia because things kind of fell apart, and she wasn't up to snuff. But she started training with Vince Gironda, and he got her back, and she was getting ready to break through and blow people away, and then the accident happened. So uh, it's like that's what I feel. It's imperative to keep her name alive and her position and what she contributed, and so that she's not forgotten. I mean, it's easy to remember a lot of the winners and a lot of the people like that, but the people that built that built the steps for the others to climb, they need to be remembered. They need to be they really need to be honored. And that's what I feel. I feel that's one of my goals. Uh, she meant a lot, and she did a lot.
yeah, I mean, like, cause there was a time I didn't even know who she was. Like,
Mhm.
I did like a live stream on the '80s bodybuilders because I started really paying attention to it a bit, in the 90s. So in the 80s, there was a lot of women that competed and you didn't really know her name. You didn't really know their names like that, and yeah.
So that's where,
But
like I
like,
said, go ahead.
no, like when you said she was blacklisted, like what, like she wasn't following like the criteria, like she was like more muscular than the
Yeah,
other women. That's how they
yeah.
spoke.
They asked her to calm down. They literally
Yeah.
told her to calm down. They said she was too negative for the for the image, and then she had the audacity to get a breast implants, and that gave them an excuse to really jump on her. And then she made this wonderful comment that I always will admire her for when she was being uh, knocked down for qualifications. She literally yelled at the judge and said, "Hey, you guys don't penalize men for the sizes of their crotches." And the whole room went nuts. It was so cool. Only she would do that. She was
Yeah.
so.
Let me all the way George Page. It was funny how they made women wrestle men back in her day because they sexualized women wrestling as lesbian.
Hmm.
Then
Yeah,
he also, yeah, this is a lot of political garbage in bodybuilding.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like I said, I saw it firsthand. It drove me nuts. So I don't know how a lot of these ladies put up with it, but again, it's just like in the movie business. I mean, what was it? Somebody once said to me, "The people that make it are the guys that'll do what the other guy won't." If you have any real integrity, uh, you won't do what they make you do in order to make money. And Kay was definitely like that. She wouldn't put up with any of that stuff, and they just dismissed her. In fact, my favorite moment still was when I mentioned this the last time we talked, when I went with her and her nephew and her older sister. We went to the '85 Olympia, and we were at Madison Square Garden. They were doing the pre-judging, and they weren't even calling her up for comparison checks. They were letting her stand in the background on stage and just be humiliated. So me and her nephew just shouted out, "Call Kay up." Next thing you know, I mean, prejudging is quiet. People just sit and they say, people walk up, they compare, walk up and compare. When we shouted, the whole audience started shouting. Every single time Kay got called up for comparison checks, the audience applauded. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It's like, okay, everybody knew. That's why she was called the Rocky of female bodybuilding. She had the chops, but no one would give her the respect.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you need to probably like make like a but like the movie about Kay Baxter, just put something out there for people to know because
Well,
cause she's not like mentioned like that, really. I think probably the person that mostly I would say that's mentioned would be Corey Everson.
right, right, because
Yeah,
she was a champion. And,
yeah.
if you're a winner and you can be exploited, you get mentioned. And I remember Kay used to tell me about that whole deal about if you wanted to rise up, you had to appear on the covers of their magazines. You had to sell their products and their ads and whatnot. And it was like she didn't want to do it. She just didn't want to do it. And so she had to make her own way doing this stuff. But again, if you're winning and they have you in that category, it's just like being a movie star. You're committed to doing certain things for the people that are giving you the money, and I can understand that completely. So I just don't think it's I just think it's off balance. That's all. I mean, the people that are up and coming, again, just like in Hollywood. That's why I love being around these bodybuilders. It reminds me of Hollywood. There's so many talented people out there, so many people with abilities and looks and everything that don't get a mention because there's other people already in certain positions that can be exploited and whatnot. So, hey, you just got to do what you can do. That's all. And hopefully get noticed. But Kay made a splash, and I'm glad I was there to witness it, to be honest with you. And she got me involved in all of this. I never would be a part of the female bodybuilding community if it weren't for her. I got introduced to so many people. When she passed, I got pulled back in, just like Michael Corleone in Godfather 3 by other companies. I've made so many videos for so many people. But the ones that really mean the most to me are the ones I did with her. And I always used to say that we had our own little Fellini crew. It was like the group of us. Don Ross, bodybuilder, one of her trainers also, and he wrote a couple of these things because he was a comic book geek. He used to draw comics. I never knew that about him. He was a writer for Iron Man and a bodybuilder and a professional wrestler, and he had his geek side. That was very cool. I all of them.
Well, I know. Before you was making comics yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what got me into this too, because I think I mentioned this. I used to draw the covers of my screenplays, and I wrote a female Tarzan epic called Wildcat, and a female a muscle. I don't know if she was a bodybuilder. Sharon Carpentier. She was a blonde, very pretty, muscular girl. She was on the Tonight Show. And I saw her and I had a copy of Variety because she made that appearance. Her agent was smart enough to put a little ad with her in it, to get attention in case people wanted to do something with her. So I got the address. I sent him my script. I thought that he may have had some friends, they might want to make the movie. And he wrote me back. I still have that letter framed. He said, I'm glad you're interested, but I don't have the means to make a movie. But did you draw that cover? Because we're trying to do a comic on Sharon. And he sent me these sketches and these little descriptions. I thought, really do this stuff? So I drew the thing. It was fun, and it got me in. Next thing I know, when I'm working with Kay did the funniest thing. We had just done the documentary and Made of Metal, and she pulls this huge box of fan mail, and she said, "Look at this stuff." I'm going, and I'm reading it, and it was all things that these guys wanted her to do to them. And all I could say was, you know what? We could make movies of this stuff. Basically, that's what the Female Fury series was about. I mean, we took a lot of these little ideas that fans wrote, and we turned them into scenarios. And it was fun. I love that stuff.
It's so cool. Like you doing that. You ever thought about have you probably could have went to comic book conventions? I don't know, like back then in the 80s, like how many comic book conventions?
I did. I've been to comic book
conventions.
Yeah, I even did this is funny. I did there was a convention called GlamourCon. It was all about women and pinup models and whatnot, and I met Dave Stevens there. And, of course, he did The Rocketeer, and he was married to another friend of mine, Brink Stevens, who was an actress. And that really got me interested in the female bodybuilding as a comic being more and more commercial, because he had a way with his art that was just wonderful. And I wanted to do the same thing for female bodybuilding comics. I didn't stick with it. I kind of stopped. But you can do that now with your computer. And one thing that I've been doing, especially when this Amazon Squad series comes out, one thing I started doing was I would take some of my early drawings and the the LH Art comics that I didn't sell to LH Art, and I would create them as images that I would later animate. And the comic books will come to life anyway, thanks to AI. So that's fun.
Yeah. But I want to kind of show you something I did back then. Uh, let me see if I got it. I'm gonna, yeah, I did a little something. I used to try to animate stuff, and it wasn't like a professional, but but if I don't have it here, then don't forget it. But yeah, I used to try to animate muscle women and stuff like that. I've interviewed a guy that he did he makes like it's Mighty Muscle Comics or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sounds kind of familiar. I may have
yeah,
heard of that.
he does it. For some reason, it's not taking it, so forget it. But yeah, let me read this chat. Like how they would trash Beth Francis. Yeah,
By
she
the,
was another one.
by the way, I got a story there. Kay was originally supposed to be the Bev Francis character in Pumping Iron 2 The Women, but of course she
Oh
offended.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so that's why Bev Francis took her place. But when we made our documentary, we purposely premiered it the same week that Pumping Iron 2 The Women premiered. We even attended, me, Kay, Kent Keene, and David Lee Roth attended the premiere of Pumping Iron 2 in Hollywood, just to be funny. But our documentary premiered the same week in another location. So I mean, I like I'd like to do another follow up, another. I know there was something about Pumping Iron 2, the original, that it seemed it was fine, but it just seemed a little too traditional. Even the original Pumping Iron had a little edge that I liked, but Pumping Iron 2, the women was it was it was a little safe. But whatever.
What you mean? Like what you mean when you say that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It just didn't have the same edge that the original Pumping Iron had. The original Pumping Iron got into Lou Ferrigno's and Arnold's competition and all of that stuff.
Oh, they was going like they was kind of
Yeah,
getting each other's heads and stuff like
mhm,
that.
yeah, stuff like
Yeah,
that. Whereas Pumping Iron 2, the women just seemed like a fluff piece to me. It was all right, but it just didn't
yeah,
get as heavy. But, whatever. It's fine. I'm just glad it was made. I'm glad they did it. They should have included Kay, but that's another story.
so if you curse somebody out, what should
She didn't curse anybody out. Like I said, it was that story where she just made fun of the judges for their judging criteria, and
okay.
it embarrassed them. And so ever since that day, they just would not give her a break, even though
Yeah.
she's the most popular female bodybuilder amongst fans of female bodybuilding. Her
Mm.
content scores kept getting lower and lower and lower, and it didn't make any sense. And I was grateful to capture some of that anger on video from some of her trainers. They just didn't understand why the numbers worked the way they worked. It's like how Hollywood manages to hide money that they said they don't have, even though their film was a success. I don't understand. I don't understand those kind of politics, and I don't ever want to.
Yeah, there's people that discuss about it. All the way George Page, he talks about it a bit, and other people, it is what it is. I'm not in that world, so I mean, I've been to a couple of bodybuilding shows. I went to the New York Pro. recently, and they didn't have women's bodybuilding, and I noticed the effect of it. Like there weren't that many people, you know,
Mm.
on, in the audience like it was, like previous years that I went, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like the
usually when I
way.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying the excitement went away when they exerted all that control, and nobody really was excited about it anymore. That's the sad part. I miss. I mean, I used to work. I mean, I used to work with my glass all the time. I think I told you about
Yeah,
him. We actually put. I actually got involved in putting one show together with him, and just seeing how that was done used to blow my mind. And I loved the participation, how excited people would get. And, you know, you, but it's just not there anymore. The same thing's happening to Hollywood. Same thing's happening to the movies. It's like the wrong people are in charge, and they've soured all the excitement for the people that actually love this stuff. So all you can do is keep going as an independent and hope you get discovered. I haven't really thought about going to a bodybuilding show in a while, but at some point after I get all of this organized, I have to pay another visit. I just have to see. I just have to see how things are going. It's like
yeah,
the last time I went to Hollywood was a couple of years ago, and I was so depressed. I don't think I'm going to go back. But I
yeah.
still like, yeah, it's not. It looks horrible. The place looks horrible, and
Mm.
I still would like to go to an Olympia. I used to love going to the Olympia. I don't even know
Mm.
where it is this year.
Mm. When was the last time you went to an Olympia?
Gosh, had to be 7 or 8 years ago. It was in Vegas. I was with Mike Glass.
Okay.
We were promoting another show. We were going to do a show dedicated to Rachel McLeish. Never got
Mm.
around to it though. But yeah, it's been a long time. I would like to check it out again before I get too old to move.
Yeah. And you still in Chicago?
Yeah. I'm back in my Midwestern home, and
Okay.
things are cool. Only thing I have to worry about are storms and tornadoes. I don't have to think about earthquakes anymore.
Yeah.
I can't stand earthquakes. They come out of nowhere. I just can't stand them. I've been through
We
so
had we had an earthquake not too long ago, like last year, but it
yeah.
was just brief. I didn't even notice it. We had an earthquake, tell you the truth.
Mm.
So
Well, probably gonna have a few more. The Earth is getting a little
yeah,
nut, but we'll see. I'm more worried about. It's gonna get hot. It's gonna get hot this summer. So that's another reason I want to hurry up and get these videos done, because
yeah,
heat hits, I'll be too lazy to edit.
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to these. Again, it's AI's been real magical, and it's great to be able to bring these characters to life that I've never been able to do. I mean, Hollywood would never let me make movies with female bodybuilders like this. You're like, no, I don't get it. They look like guys. No, they don't look like guys. They look like girls that are buff. I mean, sorry, I always go back to that. I hate that excuse. It drives me nuts when I hear people say that.
But let me ask you something. Do you think that there's women that is a bit more extreme?
Oh yeah, but that's in everything. I mean,
No.
they've got football players that look like Mack trucks. I mean, there's extremes in every sport. I mean, who's that Russian girl, Natalia?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
She
mean,
comes to my mind.
yeah. I mean,
She comes to my mind. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, people freak out when they see her. I don't freak out. I mean, this is what she wants to do, and she looks good doing it. I mean, she can make it work. I mean, I know she's a steroid advocate, but that's the way they train. That's really serious, hardcore stuff. So, I welcome it. I mean, she does make an appearance at the very end of my video, so there's a quick flash of her at the very end of it. But,
Which
again,
one? Which Natalia?
the Russian.
Kovalova?
Yeah, I can't pronounce her name. I wish I could.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just a Russian girl, gigantic, huge, whatever. I can't remember her name.
There's another one that she's a Natalia, but she got big boobs, but she's very muscular.
Yeah,
And she got like
long
a million
black hair.
on. Yeah,
Long black
that she's yeah, her. Yeah,
Yeah.
her. She's another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I see
Yeah.
her with a partner that looks similar.
Right.
Yeah, they're cool. There's also that one girl. Oh gosh, what is her name? Another Russian girl. They call her the most beautiful female bodybuilder in the world because she's got this really cute face, but she's buff. I remember I wrote her handlers and said, "You got to make this girl a movie star."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I was talking about her, but you was talking about Natalia Kovaleva.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was talking about. The one with the K.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other girl, the other girl.
Yeah, I know. I think her name is Amazonka. She's something like that.
Amazonka.
A nickname. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the nickname. I was
that's
trying to
her
remember.
nickname or something. Yeah, yeah,
Amazonka.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
monster. But she is who she is, and I
I
appreciate
can
it.
see her like in a movie. Like in a sci-fi movie.
Well,
There's another Natalia. She's I think she's married to a woman, but she her voice is really deep, and she's kind of considered a mannish, you know.
yeah.
So
But I always think about movies with characters like this, and my whole thing, because I come from film school. Every time I would see a character or a personality that just blows my mind, my brain goes to, I want to write a film about her. Because she's not going to find a role in normal films. So she has to have a role created for her. And that's what I was always into. If you want to introduce people that the average person is not used to, you create a role that was made for them so they can, like Arnold in the Terminator, a role that will present their full attributes in a way that the general public can accept it. And that's the fun part. I mean, Kate, I wrote Made of Metal. That it's just a name used to crack me up, because she's a maid, and she's made of solid steel, so to speak. And it was like a joke because people would see that and they would laugh because maid spelled M-A-I-D. They say, "Oh, she's made out of steel, huh? Okay," Then they would look at her and go, "Whoa!" But then they see the video and go, "Oh," So again, that really intense introduction, she pulls off the role, she's accepted, and that's what I liked about creating roles for people, especially people that can't. Hollywood doesn't know how to display. Like I said, Arnold was an accident. Thanks to
the funny part is, Arnold is kind of people not too crazy about Arnold because he kind of cut out women's bodybuilding at the Arnold Classic, and the people notice that he doesn't like women bodybuilders. That's the thing too.
Well, I have a funny story about that too. Kay used to tell me.
Oh boy.
Arnold, which were funny. Vince Gironda used to tell me stories about Arnold that were funny, but I won't go into that. I'm gonna keep that to myself. But it's funny how people have attitudes about things, and some of them aren't really legitimate, but it's for public interpretation. And of course, Arnold's a very macho guy, and he married a Kennedy, for crying out loud. So, I can understand him not appreciating female bodybuilding and cutting it out of the Arnold. I'm sorry that he did, because I used to go to the Arnold Classic mainly for the females. Whatever.
Yeah. Let me read some of these chats. It's back in Vegas. They had it in Orlando because of the pandemic. And then
that's where I used to go to Vegas. That's where I used to go. I'm glad it's back there.
And I think hey, brother Sam, back in the house.
Bill, fellow artist.
Yeah.
Love it. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to play one more hold on, I'm sorry. Play one more of your clips and yeah.
88. Ivy Russell was widely regarded as the world's strongest woman during the heyday spanning the period between the two world wars. Boasting a most impressive physique, she excelled in weightlifting and wrestling, and was a pioneer of early women's bodybuilding. After the 1932 weightlifting championship, Miss Russell issued an open challenge to any women lifters to contest her title. There were no takers, so she set her sights on a new goal: wrestling. Miss Russell published a statement that she had been wrestling for 2 years, but was so strong she could not find any members of her own sex for opponents. She mentions that there were plenty of women wrestlers and women wrestling clubs around, and freestyle wrestling has self-defense at its core, emphasizing skill rather than pure physical strength, which is why at some of the clubs the girls out-wrestle the men, as the slenderest skilled woman can more than hold her own against the strongest unskilled man. However, Miss Russell made the news for another reason that put her in the class of superheroine. She was involved in a massive car accident, and according to reports, she was driving in Austin down the main road when her car was T-boned by a police officer. Miss Russell herself sustained shock, concussions, and cuts, but was discharged from the hospital after her wounds were dressed.
Her physical parameters were higher than most strong men. Her biceps, calf, and thighs were the same or exceeded the size of the most famous heavyweight boxers of her time, antithetical to many people's conception of a strong woman, but many admired her. Ivy was an early practitioner of Nauli Kriya, an advanced hatha yoga purification technique that involves a circular churning of the abdominal muscles to massage and cleanse the internal organs.
Imagine domestic life in those days as the husband of a female superhero during an argument about duties, which prompted Miss Russell to publish another piece entitled, "Why Shouldn't a Woman Wrestle?" taking down common arguments against women's physical prowess. A religious parson reacted to what Ivy represented as outrageous, and that these women seemed determined to rob their sex of the respect of all decent men. There's a tiny bit of fear in that, which leads me to one of my favorite lady warriors.
Yeah. Ivy
That was
Russell.
interesting. Yeah, I was reading a little bit of her. Yeah, she started off, she was sick, and then, she started working out, and yeah.
Yeah, she reminds me the most of Kay, because I used to remember the whole point of the wrestling thing and the self-defense aspects, because there's a lot of jiu-jitsu involved, and especially the whole point of grapplers being more inclined to win a fight than a martial artist, because a martial artist can't fight when they're on the ground. All these little things that you learn about when you hear about this stuff. I always found that fascinating. Which kind of reminds me of another weird thing that I was just thinking of. Because I introduced Kay to Eric Lee, a martial artist who I knew. We were roommates for a while. And one of the things that they had in common, they both accidentally broke people's ribs during demonstrations.
Oh wow.
It's so funny when I think about it. And the funny thing was I videotaped them. Eric Lee was doing a demo, did a sidekick, accidentally broke some guy's rib. Oh well, that happens. Kay, when she would wrestle, she would get carried away, and people got hurt. But hey, it's like it was so weird when again she told me this great story after she divorced Bill. She and Pillow would go out and do that wrestling circuit of guys who would make these little silly Super 8 films that I was talking about earlier. And the thing that blew her mind the most was she would fight these guys, and she was so much stronger than they were. It freaked her out because she'd been used to fighting a Marine all her life. And these guys, she would just tear them up. I remember one of them, I wish I still had it. The guy was nearly crying. It was so crazy. He had no idea she was going to put him through what she put him through. And I wish I could find that. I do have one of those matches. But another funny story along the same thing. This is I don't know if I mentioned this for the last time, but this was like one of my favorites. There was a guy, David Blaine, I think his name was. He was an agent. He was putting together a TV wrestling show that was the alternative to Glow. Glow was the hot show at the time. He had another show called LWP, whatever. I forgot what it was called. Anyway, he was looking for a female bodybuilder for the show. So me and Kay had him come over, and he wanted a demonstration. So we got one of her really hardcore videos out where she was just tearing some guy apart, and we would laugh watching them wince as they watched the video. They were like, oh my god, she's gonna kill somebody. She's like, we don't want this on our show. It was just hilarious to me. I love things like that.
Wow, I don't know, like wow. That sound intense. I mean, what like the guys used to talk trash to her or something like that to make her be in that mode
No.
Oh.
We, like I said,
She just
no, she would just get herself into that frame of mind. I mean, once she started fighting, she was an animal, and you didn't want to mess with. Sweetest human being ever, but once she got going, there were a few ladies like that. I used to remember a lady named Laura Vukov, who she was another scary one. People were afraid to fight her. It was amazing. I got to do videos with her also. She was something else.
Man, I mean, there's guys that do like sessions and stuff. So imagine that. So wow.
Well, another thing that I found out that I didn't know before is that I know there's the muscle worshippers and whatnot, and the guys that like some of the milder versions of fantasy wrestling, but there were guys out there that wanted to get hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
I made videos with a guy. The LAPD allowed him to purchase a bulletproof vest so that the women could actually hit him in our videos. I mean, I don't get it, but it's not me to say. So
They got that like the ball busting, that like getting their knee jerked or getting the
hurt. I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, how long does that last? I mean, I guess the pain is a temporary.
I don't know.
But what if something really serious happened, you never recovered? Because that was always my big fear. Someone could get really carried away and do some damage. In fact, I'm not I know too many stories. Like I said, I did a lot of videos for a lot of people, and I heard a lot of crazy stories. And hey, well, stuff happens.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I was talking to somebody that's a session wrestler, and she tells me that she gets people, she hires people to be like I forgot the word of it, but they're able to get their balls get kicked, and like some of the people that she hired, they couldn't take it at a certain point. There was like one Pacific guy, he was able to do it, but like the other guys, they would want to do it like in their mind, but then when they actually do it, it's a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like a fantasy or something like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of curious. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
It's
kind of went.
different type of fantasy.
I kind of
Yeah.
went through that because it was one of those things where, in fact, I know I told you this story. The thing that got me and Kay laughing was she surprised me by clamping a body scissor on me. I didn't know she was going to do it,
Mm,
and it scared the crap out of me. It felt like
mm,
a car was rolling over me, and she looked at me and said, "Oh, Bill said you were into that stuff." I said, "No, I'm not into it being done to me. I'm into you watching you do it to other people." And it was so funny. We just laughed for hours, and that was the basis of our relationship. Sometimes I felt bad for some of the videos we made because she could actually convince someone to challenge her, and then as soon as it happened, they regretted it. It's like
oh wow.
they had no idea, just like I did. Yeah, she was. I mean, she looked pretty strong, but she was a lot stronger than she looked. That was the
Mm,
really intense thing about her. I
mm,
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she could flip a car. If she did that in front of me, I wouldn't have been surprised.
mm. Well, rest in peace, Kate Baxter.
Mhm. Truly. In fact,
So
I was sitting here as I still have this. Her
wow.
cover.
Yeah, wow.
I
That's
just
in
have.
good condition.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
I have three of them. One's in perfect condition. This one's the one I actually.
Yeah, that look nice.
Yeah.
I used to buy some Women's Physique World, here in New York, when it was like when they used to sell in the newsstands.
Mm-hmm.
I think like about like 2006, you stopped seeing it. I was like, yo, where they at? Where the comics at? Where the magazines at? I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man.
they kind of faded. It was terrible. It was just like everything else.
Yeah,
I mean, they
yeah,
couldn't afford to maintain the quality because the audience was dropping, and also the competition was just crazy. And the leaders had their magazine, and they were trying to force all these independent magazines out. So they
yeah,
they had a monopoly over the bodybuilding community. Another thing that Kay hated. Yeah, but that's just the way it is. That was the business at the time. Now
yeah.
we have more independence. This was the thing that my business partner, Nursey Nawab, still does the videos. But I had to talk him into getting into the internet because I remember the old days when we had mailing lists and everybody guarded their mailing lists or they sold them or whatnot. But I said, the internet, you can get everybody. You don't need a mailing list. Anybody interested in this stuff is going to come to the internet. And sure enough, it took off. I just wish I could have. I mean, I'm not a business person. I just like to create. So let everybody else take advantage. Eventually, I'm gonna get my due. I'm very patient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm wishing you the best on these videos. Looking forward seeing them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to showing them. They're coming. They're
Mm.
coming together pretty well. Like I said, I'm just amazed at the details some of this AI does. And,
Yeah.
really looking forward to seeing how people. Haley Humphrey. Haley Humphrey. That name is you know what? I think somebody mentioned Haley Humphrey to me before. I'm going to write that down. I will definitely check her out. But at some point, I'm still waiting for someone else to really find a way to make female bodybuilding more commercially acceptable. You too, Mr. Page. Thank you. So Haley Humphrey. Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, like so I'm gonna wrap it up, man. But I really appreciate you, sharing your insights and sharing the allowing me to showcase your video.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
so
you. I really
put it
appreciate
on the description. Yeah, I mean you're somebody that that was in, like, I would say you was there in the beginning,
it.
really. I mean, if I could
Well,
say that.
I was maybe not the beginning, but I was there at the golden age. That's the way I look at
Yeah,
it. It was the
right,
golden age.
right.
It was really, really peaking, and people were taking it seriously. There was all this television coverage that was happening. I mean, I must have done 3 talk shows when this was really going. And like I said, I'm shy. I don't like to appear in public. I'm not that type of person. But this was bigger than anything I'd ever been involved with, and as I said before, it was very good to me. What can I say?
Yeah. Well, till next time, sir. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you, and
Always.
I'm so glad that people are interested. I'm really lucky there, and also
Yeah.
glad for the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so like for everybody, check out Samuel Oldman's channel, and I'll put that in the description. And with that, good night.
Good night. Take care. Good talking
All
to
right.
you.
You likewise.